It used to take hours to train armies, and you could rarely ever get all of your builders to be busy because of how hard it was to farm loot, but nowadays those challenges basically don't even exist, and it is clear the game is very different now compared to what it was just a few years ago, and it has definitely gotten easier with all the new things being added. But does this make the game too easy? Well, that's what we're going to be looking at today, and I also want to see just how it is affecting the game in the short and the long term, so let's get right into it. The first major area where the game has gotten significantly easier is with resource farming, and this is arguably the biggest change that most players have noticed. In the September 2024 update, Supercell made loot farming easier by increasing the percentage of resources that can be stolen from collectors and storages, and that would make it so each base had more loot than before, and this would very quickly add up, but this isn't even the biggest thing that has made farming easier. The biggest thing that has made farming way easier is the fact that training time was completely removed from the game. This was probably one of the biggest quality of life changes that Supercell has ever made because it fundamentally changed how people play the game. Back in the day, if you wanted to do a full army attack, you would have to wait anywhere from 20 minutes to over an hour depending on what troops you were using, and there was even a brief period of time where the spells would take multiple hours, and this meant you could only do a handful of attacks per day unless you were constantly using gems, and for a lot of people this number was 2 or 4 attacks because they would log on once or twice a day to attack, and it really sucked if you forgot to train your troops before getting off, and that is something that I think most people can relate to. But now you can literally attack back to back without any wait time, which means you can farm resources way faster than ever before. And with things like the star bonus, clan games, and all these other things that have been added throughout the years, getting loot has just become easier and easier, and nowadays it basically is a non-existent problem in the game, but a couple of years ago it was probably the biggest bottleneck in the game. We also can't forget about magic items, which have become way more accessible over the years. Things like the potions, books, and hammers are relatively easy to get consistently through different methods, and these items all help a lot with progression, and we didn't have anything like this in the earlier days. The only way to make things go by faster was to literally spend gems, and if you have the gold pass, you get even more of these items plus the reduction on all costs and times, which is just absolutely massive when you're trying to max out your base, and it is just another thing that has made the game a lot easier for players. But the ease of farming isn't the only thing that has changed. Attacking has also gotten significantly easier in recent years, with 3 stars being way more common than they used to be. There are multiple reasons for this, but the biggest one is just how overpowered some of the newer troops and strategies have become. The Root Rider is probably the best example of this because this troop has completely changed the meta at the higher Town Hall levels since it was introduced with Town Hall 16. This troop can just plow through walls, and it has a ton of health, making it perfect for tanking damage while your other troops deal damage, and overall the Root Riders along with other strong troops have made attacking easier. But the most important change so far has been with the heroes because they have just gotten extremely powerful as they get more and more levels, and as they get better equipment, because the equipment has really allowed the heroes to just level up, and they play a much bigger role now than just a couple of years ago. For example, you have the Royal Champion Walk, which is arguably the most powerful hero strategy in the game right now because you can deal so much damage, and there are a ton of powerful strategies that rely on the Royal Champion because of just how powerful it is. It is stronger than the Queen Walk and Warden Walk, which used to be the best hero strategies before the hero equipment was added. The Royal Champion isn't alone though, because all the other heroes are super powerful as well with their equipment, but the Royal Champion was the best example in my opinion. And as an honorable mention, you also do have some event troops that can be very powerful that allow you to just 3-star bases very easily, and this is something that just didn't exist back in the day because the event troops we had back then really weren't all that strong. Now, with all of these changes making the game easier, You might be wondering if Supercell has gone too far and if the game has become too easy. This is where things get interesting because Supercell has actually tried to add some balance to the game through the new ranked mode that was introduced recently. The ranked mode separates casual farming from competitive play, with higher leagues introducing hard mode modifiers to make battles more challenging. This is a really smart move by Supercell because it means casual players can still enjoy the easier aspects of the game, while competitive players have a more challenging mode to test their skills, and this was their attempt at trying to make the game good for everyone because they know some people don't like how attacking is so easy and they want more of a challenge, because before this there was actually a problem of people accidentally reaching Legends League too easily, so this new ranked system was supposed to try and make the game less easy in that regard. And there is still the casual mode for farming. This ranked mode also addresses another issue with the game getting too easy, which is that it gives competitive players something to work towards and keeps them engaged. The new ranked system follows a weekly tournament schedule with limited attacks per week depending on your league, which means you have to be strategic about when and how you use your attacks. You can't just spam attacks, and instead you have to really think about your strategy and make every attack count. This adds a layer of depth and strategy that wasn't really present in the old system. The league floors are also a nice addition because they prevent players from dropping too far down in trophies, ensuring that you stay in a league that's appropriate for your Town Hall level. This means you won't have max Town Hall 17 players dropping down to lower leagues just to farm easy wins, which helps keep things fair and balanced for everyone. Plus, the new achievements for reaching different leagues give players free gems and rewards for climbing the ranks, which is a nice incentive to keep people pushing. But even with ranked mode adding some difficulty back into the game, the question still remains, is Clash of Clans too easy now? And personally, I don't think it is. I think the game is definitely easier, but in a quality of life way that makes it more enjoyable and accessible for everyone. The old days of having to wait hours to train armies and spending entire sessions just trying to find a base with decent loot were not fun, and they were a big reason why a lot of players quit the game or just got bored of it. It felt like a chore to play, and you had to dedicate so much time just to make any meaningful progress. But now, you can hop on for 30 minutes, do a few attacks, upgrade some buildings, and feel like you've actually accomplished something, which just makes you want to come back. The game is more enjoyable now because you can play it on your own terms. If you want to just casually farm some loot and upgrade your base, you can do that in battle mode without worrying about trophies or competitive pressure. But if you want to be competitive and test yourself against the best players, you have ranked mode with its modifiers and limited attacks that make things challenging. The data backs this up too because Clash of Clans has been in its second prime for the last 2 years. With player counts and revenue increasing significantly, people are coming back to the game or trying it for the first time because it's more accessible and fun than it used to be. The quality of life improvements like removing training time and increasing loot caps have made the game feel less grindy and more rewarding. And the addition of ranked mode has given competitive players something to strive for, which keeps them engaged and coming back for more. And this is really important because even though Clash of Clans is shifting to be more of a casual game, they still haven't forgotten about the competitive community, and this way both types of players can play and enjoy the game. Another thing to consider is that the game needed to get easier in order to stay relevant and competitive with other mobile games. The mobile gaming landscape has changed a lot over the last decade, and there are so many more options available now. Games that feel too grindy or time consuming just don't do well anymore because people have less patience and want to feel like they're making progress. Supercell recognized this and made changes to keep the game fun and engaging, which is why it's still one of the most popular mobile games even after 13 years. And let's be honest, the game is still challenging in a lot of ways. Getting 3 stars against a well-designed base with good defenses is still difficult, even with all of the new troops and equipment. You still need to understand funneling, spell placement, troop timing, and base analysis in order to consistently get 3 stars. The game has just removed a lot of the tedious and frustrating aspects while keeping the strategic and skill-based elements, and with ranked mode, there's still a place for players who want that extra challenge and want to prove they're among the best. So overall, I think Clash of Clans has gotten easier, but in a way that makes the game better and more enjoyable for everyone. The quality of life improvements have removed a lot of the grind and frustration that used to plague the game, while the addition of ranked mode has added a competitive element for players who want more of a challenge. The game is more accessible now, which is why it's seeing so much growth and why so many players are coming back or trying it for the first time. Supercell has found a good balance between making the game fun and casual while still offering competitive challenges for those who want them, and that's exactly what a game needs to stay relevant and successful for over a decade. But that's also it for this video. Let me know down below if you guys think the game is too easy, and I'll catch you all in the next one.